So I was in this social media space today, and a virtual space, and went amongst a group of people, and I have a lot of respect for most of the people in there. I've heard them speak. I know what they've been through. I understand where they're coming from. We resonate on a lot of the same things. And just one thing in particular though is with the whole New Age movement. Well, there's a couple things. The whole New Age movement, first of all, there's nothing New Age. It's all old. Like, it's been around for a long time. And, I'm not to say that there isn't anything ever new under the sun. Of course there is, but, and, especially right now, there's something new going on. There's something bigger going on. When people, this is written, it's in God's word. It's here. It's been here for a long time. This information has all been available to us for a very long time. And so what even before Christ, of course, long before that, long before that, but still, I would say that, and I'm not coming from a religious standpoint when I say this. I'm not saying, it's the only way. That's not what I'm saying. Like, Christ is the only way, because a lot of people reach enlightenment without going the way of Christ, although it's the same template. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what's so different? But I like, Christ is my ascended master. He's the one that taught me, gave me an example, my blueprint to fully heal myself. And I mean, I've done all this healing and managed to, and healed myself completely, and then managed to stay healed and sustain it for long periods of time now, like, with everything and then some thrown, all the whole time being homeless, alone, except for my dog, and more or less broke the whole time I've been that way. And not to say that that's going to continue, but anyway, because it's not, that we're done with that. Anyhow, the shaming and blaming of God in general, and specifically Christ. Yeah, I mean, there's a legitimate question that I wish to propose to people, that people ponder on their own, is, if Christ was not a real man that walked this earth, like in a physical form, then why is there such a huge effort to discredit him? You see what I mean? You can go from the other standpoint of thinking, Christians are going to say that Christ is the best because of A, B, C, D, D, D and E. But why is the opposition so powerful against Christ, if in fact he is just a spiritual metaphor for all of us waking up? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, when somebody is gossiping about you, why do they go to the lengths that they do if what they're saying is true anyway? No, they have to lie. They have to exaggerate. They have to. It's spiritual law, first of all, and second of all, it's the way humans work most of the time. So why this incredible effort to discredit Christ? Yeah. Yeshua HaMashiach, why did they go to such lengths to discredit him? Why? Why would they do that? Why would anyone do that? Why would it be going on to this fucking day? So, that's a legitimate question to ponder. So again, with the, shaming God and even furthermore Christ and his followers, saying that somehow, we need to fall in line with all of the other spiritual gurus and, call it the universe and this and that, when that's not what taught us to be who we are today. That's not where I got it. If you want to quote the Law of One, or, the raw material, or the Emerald Tablets, or whatever the fuck you want to quote, do that. That's where you learned it. So yeah, give it a source, give it a spiritual bibliography, so to speak. Have your list of where you learn things, straight, and that makes sense. And just like I have mine straight. And I would just say that, like, don't shame people for having that same bibliography only in the Bible, and not solely in the Bible, but is in the Bible. First and foremost, yeah. Canonized and uncanonized books in the Bible. Don't shame people for that. That's bullshit. if you're doing that, you're not coming from a space of love. You're coming from, and I'm going to say this, and you're not going to want to hear it, but this is where your lack of love and understanding with God is coming from, is your unhealed father issues. I know. I didn't want to hear it when I had daddy issues either. And you know, both men and women can have mother and father issues. It's not only possible, it's probable. It makes sense. And when you see people, the way that they respond to one another and the way that they respond to, you know, you'll see like, you know, masculine men that grew up like not liking their mothers. Maybe they had like a, you know, an overbearing mother who was very, you know, like abusive and narcissistic, but like overbearing in the sense that she was not nurturing and kind and like, you know, hovering around like a helicopter trying to keep you safe from everything, but like, you know, exerting her will in ways that were toxic and not helpful. And she didn't know how to be soft and nurturing and kind to her children. That's harsh. You know, I would know from firsthand experience. Totally. It's not easy. So, you know, I mean, although my mother was very nurturing in many, many ways, she taught me to be nurturing as well. It was rough because she would get very much in her masculine energy sometimes, and she would just be bowling things over. But, you know, I mean, she tended to bounce back pretty quickly. But, like, you know, we went through it because of that. You know, my mother had to be because she was a single parent with 3 kids and she was on her own. I mean, come on. It was rough for us, too. And so, you know, I seek the healing and things, not just for myself, but for other people. And, you know, it's even when you get to be 100% healed, there's still parts of, like, I would call it your mental, you know, your mental aspect, like the aspect of your mind, that there are things you haven't thought about yet. As much as we think and as much as we reflect and look back on things, there are things that we haven't even thought about. There just are. And so when you know, like the wise man knows he knows nothing kind of thing. And, you know, when you realize that and you take it for what it is, and you're not really looking to be better or worse than yourself, you know, and you have an example like Christ and God himself, then what, you know, why even compare yourself to anyone else? Be the best version of you in the moment, in every moment, you know, consecutively, which adds up to a lot of moments. And don't worry about the rest. Like, I know it sounds kind of inhuman, but like, to not worry is important. It's a very important aspect of continuing to maintain abundance in all areas, and also, you know, to have that success mindset that you know you're going to be able to do it. You know, you know that you're going to be able to, because, you know, when you're and the realization that even if you do come up against things that you never thought about before, that you still can overcome them, and think about it, and not only overcome an obstacle, but use that obstacle in your future arsenal of figuring shit out. That is success mindset, 100%. And that's like not just success, I'm going to overcome this. That's like success, I'm going to own this bitch, and then I'm going to fucking make it work for me. You know, I'm going to make this thought or this obstacle, whatever it is, work for me. And that's, you know, that's a powerful thing. That's a powerful upgrade to have. Amazing. So, you know, to hear people shaming and blaming God for anything, you know, put that, you know, if you even do use the emotion of shame, blame, let alone the word, you know, let alone the thought or actually, you know, acting on it. If you're still operating in that, you know, then I really don't know, like, where you're coming from. I mean, I do, but when people claim to be this, you know, this and that and the other thing, and they claim to be really awakened, they claim to be operating only out of love, and they claim this and they claim that, and they claim, you know, and I kind of roll my eyes and I go, you know what, you're not, though, because you haven't healed the shadow of your hurt little girl or little boy or whatever, you know, like, what is that? You need to look at that. Like, that's a demon inside you that you need to integrate immediately. Like, especially when you're, you know, vibing on the higher frequencies of love and light and things like that. That shit will bring you down every single time, and it's a major chink in your armor. Huge. So if you're coming at it from a standpoint where, like, you can't understand God, well, that's something within you. That's not to do with God. That's to do with you. That's your lack of healing. And these are things I've told myself. So don't think I'm telling you anything that I haven't done myself, continue to do myself, and have maintained myself. You know, it's one thing about being a leader. You can't be a hypocrite. You just can't. You cannot do that. It doesn't work. You will not be a good leader. Period. That's not a powerful leader. You have to be the captain on the ship, which means you have to not only be a master at your job, but a master at every other job on the ship. You know, everything from cooking the food to swabbing the decks to, you know, to navigation and you know, and everything else. You know, and the servants too. Everyone from the captain, the servant, and everything in between. That's what a good leadership skills require. You must be good at everything, and you must be willing to do every job. Not just willing, but able. You know, and I would hate for people to think that I'm somehow, you know, I somehow woke up and I'm like, oh, great, you know, everything's great for me. Fuck everybody else, you know, kind of thing. You know, I'm all love and light. Yeah, no, I understand people very well. I understand their nastiness. I understand how they feel. I understand the feelings of low self-esteem. I understand depression. I understand anxiety. I understand all of that. And that's what I'm saying. I've healed myself from enormous amounts of stress, trauma, huge amounts of trauma. And like the complex PTSD, you name it, I've been through it all. Post-traumatic stress disorder, fucking borderline personality disorder caused by, you know, perpetual crises in my childhood. I mean, you name it, I went through it. Narcissistic abuse. Yeah, I mean, just everything. I've been through it all. Like, you know, unaliving attempts. Oh yeah. Been through, I mean, like heart